I'm going to talk about mouse overs and on clicks in HTML and give you a little demo of that. This is one of my two buddies. This is Mr. Mocha. He's the older of the two, a good guy, but not relevant to what we're doing right now. Let me show you first off what it looks like in a browser, and then I'll show you the code. So the point about mouse overs and on clicks is that they allow you to put more information on the page but hidden, so that users can actually call it up when they decide they want to take a look and get more information. So right now, this sorry here is a hyperlink. It looks like a regular hyperlink. It's blue and underlined. I put the mouse over it, it turns into a hand. Nothing happens unless I click, and up comes a dialog box that says, oops, at 9:31 I typed 1602 instead of 1604. The dialog box stays up until I click OK. So this particular code compels me to click to activate the pop-up box, and I have to click OK to deactivate it. The second line here, but here's how I really feel, requires only what's called a mouse over, so I don't have to click to make it happen. You'll have to decide whether or not, let's make this full screen here, you'll have to decide whether or not you want to do this, but all I have to do is bring the mouse over the field and it pops up. And you can see it looks just like the other one. When I take the mouse away, it's going to stay until I say OK. There are other variations you can do on this, but that's basically how it works. So let me show you the code. This is in Notepad++, which I really like. It's a jazzed up version of regular Notepad. One thing you'll notice, one of the great things about this piece of software is that for tags that need to be open and closed, if they're open and closed, I highlight one and the opposite part of the pair highlights also to show me, look, you've opened the head tag and closed it. Same with the title tag, same with the HTML tag here. These are pre-format tags. So it's kind of nice that if you forget, or in this, let's say just forget to close a tag here, when I put the mouse over title, nothing happens because actually it hasn't been closed. It's only when I close the tag that it shows me visually. So that's a kind of nice thing. All right, here's my H1. There's nothing special about that. This is an anchor tag, A. href tells me it's an anchor tag. And all of this stuff right here is what's hidden. The word sorry is all the user sees. Interesting that you see I highlighted sorry here, but it picked it up here. This is black and this is purple because this is inside quotes and not capitalized. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So this is what the user sees. And I'll just refresh your memory. You see here, sorry, get that one out of the way. It says sorry, and I actually have to click to make it happen. So going back to this code, here's my href. I've added something called on mouse over. That means when the mouse passes over, put up something called an alert box, and inside these single quotes is my message. And then I have to put a semicolon and close the quote and put an anchor tag here, close anchor tag, and this is what the user really sees. It's slightly different for the click part. Here I have to say href equals, open quote, JavaScript, alert box, and then my message is inside the alert box, followed by close single quote, close bracket, semicolon, close quote, and then this is what the user sees. Now, down at the bottom here, I have something called escape characters. And these are very important because you can't do very much formatting with this pop-up box. There's not a lot you can do. When I click on here, it's basically black text on white. I can't make it bigger. I can't change the font. I can't add color. I'm kind of limited in what I can do. But I can do a couple of things. Let's try a \n, which means a new line. So if I want to say here, inside. I want not to be on one line and sorry to be on the other. I just do \n, as you see here, and if all goes well, oops, wrong one, sorry. You see here, not is on one line and sorry is on the next. So that basically starts a new line for you, so you can do a little bit of formatting. Here, however, are the maybe the three most important things, but usually the one that's going to get you in trouble is the single quote, because it also functions as an apostrophe. So let's go back. On this mouse over, I've got an apostrophe here, but it's not a problem. It's going to be a problem on the on click, and let me show you why in the code. So here's my JavaScript, and so JavaScript alert, I want you to notice that I have a single quote right here. And if I have to add an apostrophe here, 1602s, the problem is now this apostrophe closes this amount of text, but look at this extra apostrophe over here. I can't have three single quotes. So I have to tell the browser, look, this is an apostrophe, not an S, and I don't want you to close everything off. So I escape it, as the saying goes, by putting a backslash right there. Let me take the backslash out first and just show you what happens when I put in 1602 apostrophe S. And you'll see it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work, as I say, is because this now closes the sequence, and it's got all this other stuff after it that it doesn't recognize. But if I escape it, like so, and then go back, now you can see at 9:31 I typed 1602 apostrophe S. That's pretty small, but you can see the apostrophe S is there. So these, if you ever have to use an apostrophe or an extra double quote or an extra backslash, the backslash is what tells the browser, don't consider it part of the programming code, consider it part of the text message. I want to show you one other set of tricks that I think you're going to like, because in regular text you may want to make your hyperlinks different from your tooltip pop-ups. So watch carefully what I'm going to do, and as I say, I'm going to make this code available to you. But here's my set of head tags. Inside the head tag, I'm going to create two separate styles. For two different functions. So I'm still inside the head tags. I will take this and copy it. And the trick is, I have to give this style a name. I start with a period, and I say M-O-R-E. Now, you can name it pretty well anything you want, except you can't start with a number. You can't have any white spaces in it, and you cannot have any special characters like quote, exclamation mark, another period, semicolon. You can't have anything like that. But I'm going to create a style that says more, and I'll put my two curly braces in here. When I code, as soon as I open a tag, I like to close it right away. If I leave it till later, I sometimes forget. So I'm going to say style more is going to be, the background color is going to be blue, semicolon. I'm going to make the font color white, and for font color all I have to say is color. I'm using a cascading style sheet now with CSS, And I'm going to add an additional little feature here. It's called border radius. And what border radius does is it rounds the corners of this box, because more is going to create a solid background. Well, actually, let me create it without the radius first, and then I'll show you the difference. And on the other one, I'm going to call this more 2. It is okay if I use a number as long as it isn't the first character in the code. So I'm just going to copy this and make a slight variation in more 2. I'm going to say that I want the color to be red. And we'll keep the background color white. Now this doesn't do anything yet because I've just put these inside the head tag and they're ready to be used whenever they're called up. I'm going to go down here to my first hyperlink, and I'm going to put this is going to become an attribute for the tag. So I can put an attribute anywhere. I could put it in between A and href, or I could put it over here. I'm going to put it at the beginning. And I'm going to say, quite simply, class equals more. So I've exploded the anchor tag. The more style is going to be a blue text with a white background. Let's just save that and take a look. So you see here, it's a blue text with a white background. I'll go back to my code and I will make this one see what happens when you make a mistake. You get black instead of purple. I'll make this more 2. And I'll show you what that looks like. So now I have 2 different ways of perhaps signaling to my reader there's 2 different kinds of information. I do want you to notice that the background of this hyperlink is square. So you've got 4 corners on it, and also it's the text is really jammed up against this border. So there's a couple of things we can do to tweak it. There's actually a lot of things we can do to tweak it, but you can look it up at CSSW Schools. But I'm going to go back here to more 1. This is my my first one, and I'm going to say border radius, and I think we'll make it 5 pixels. So let me show you what that does. You see now how these corners are rounded, whereas these corners here are square. I'm going to go back and do one more thing, and I'm going to say padding 2 pixels. So watch what will happen. There's going to be more space now. I just want you to notice how jammed up this is against there. But when I reload it, you see all the extra space now? So all I've done is change the formatting of these. The decision whether you want to go with an on-click or an on-mouse over is up to you. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Here's what you need to consider. This requires the reader to actually activate the information by clicking. So it's 1 extra click. The mouse over is convenient, but it is very annoying if you go over it because you actually have to close it. There is a function called on mouse out that will take it away, but the problem is it's very easy to, it doesn't matter if it's on click to take it out or on mouse out. It's really annoying when you're just, people wave their mouse arrow around the screen all the time, and when you accidentally overrun that, it's kind of annoying. So my recommendation is that you do this with the alert box only, but it's entirely up to you. So that is a little bit about tooltips and mouse overs in HTML.